Hey everybody, we're here for a new episode of RLG Cast Reviews. Today we're talking Echo. I'm here with Putty, the Puttyman. You can check out his channels. His will be in the description below. You click it, go check him out.
Mhm.
Like this video, please. Subscribe to this channel, please. Leave a comment, not please. And tell us that we're wrong about our take on this show. Even though I don't know Putty's take, we do know JD's take. Um,
Yes, we do.
so we'll let you know his thing at the end. But for now, we're gonna enter into this review. Putty will give you a brief description of the show, which it looks like he's opening something because he was ready for this.
No. The funny thing is like I was planning on watching it and then drop my review, and I was gonna also throw in there that I'm not even sure if I'm gonna review this on my own because I'm probably just gonna use your video as a catalyst to my own review, which will be the first Marvel review I won't do. But I feel like everything is gonna be pointed out in this because there's really nothing else but what we're about to talk about today. So that's basically gonna be thrown out there for those that don't know. I will not be dropping a review on my channel probably for this. Maybe a
Whoa.
short. Maybe a short.
Okay,
Maybe
a
I'll do a
short, but
short.
that's
A
good.
short. Yeah. But this show is about Echo. Well, the character of Echo. I forgot her name actually, her real character's name. But Maya. So Maya is the character from the Hawkeye series that we got introduced to. That now we are going back to her family-oriented show about why she is and who she is and da 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 da, and her relation to Kingpin after the events of said Hawkeye series, literally right after the events, actually kind of during the events too, if you really think about it. But of course, spoilers ahead eventually, I guess. I don't know if you want to do a review before that and then talk about it. But basically, it's about her family going back to her hometown and then the events that
Yeah.
unfold about her relationship with the Kingpin, Wilson Fisk.
She's basically begrudgingly forced to go back to Oklahoma to her, like, I don't know if it's a reserve, but I guess the town where all her family lives. Uh,
Yeah,
because she's from the Choctaw tribe.
yeah.
So she she goes back. She's not, I don't know if she's not proud of her heritage. It's hard to tell. Like you don't get, like you do get. So we're going review now.
Yeah.
We'll do no spoilers first, and then we'll do some spoilers. The review will be pretty short. It's hard to tell if she's like upset with her heritage or like, you know what I mean, embarrassed by it or something because it's like she's trying to hide from it.
Mhm.
But then as the show progresses, it stops giving you that vibe. So I was kind of like lost on that. But I do think like her character does get some pretty good development. Um, one of the biggest things that I didn't like, I'll tell you right now, just we're just
Okay.
jumping around,
All right, go
was
ahead.
was Biscuits, the character Biscuits. Number one, because that's the stupidest name ever. Number
Mhm.
two, because they establish him right in the very beginning as like a very important character, but then he never comes back until the very end of the show.
Well, I mean, yeah, and no, I mean they establish him, and yes, you're right. They don't. See, the problem is that he's established when there's another character that should have been established a lot earlier, but they didn't really. They made a big deal about her and then didn't go into her until later. Like I feel like Biscuit at first got more shine than her, then she got more shine later. Like here's the thing, this
And she
show,
still doesn't really get shine.
I know,
She
and
kind
see
of just is there.
the thing I have a problem with is there's some characters that are like I felt Biscuit maybe a little bit of comic relief, I guess you could say. But the thing I had with this show is that I feel like the actors were great. I feel like the characters for some of these development was great. There was I feel like the plot, it was weird because I was really get into it and I really like got really like I really got into the story, but then I was looking for something more of a bigger payoff than I actually felt like I did. And I'm not going to go into what the payoff is or what, without, going to spoilers, but it's like this show has me in a weird feeling where it's like lately when it comes to Marvel, and this is going back to the What If review, it's hit me a little bit harder because I live in an area. I actually live close to a town called Cherokee. That it's very very Native American. They push it's very the very what's the word, not push, but it's very very proud heritage kind of a country where I myself as a white American, I feel bad. Like I'm one of those people that I like what Marvel and Disney are doing. But it's such what's the word I'm looking for? It's like I feel bad for I hate myself in that situation. Like I can't explain how I feel when I watch this. It's like one of those things where it's like I have that whole thing, oh, this is sweet, but then there's just that moment of like I don't know what they're trying to do here. Like I don't want to say that people are pushing too much of an agenda because I'm very proud of what I saw and I'm proud that I was taught something in this sense. But then at the same time, I'm like
Okay.
this story doesn't feel. I don't know. I don't know how to
I
explain
I
how this.
can I can help you out. You appreciate the way that they're showing off the native heritage and the characters and they're pushing it to the forefront and making it like a thing, but also you see the fact that they're just milking a chance to get money from a different group of people.
Thank you. Yeah, and see, that's the problem I have is like I'm, I mean, when it comes to Native Americans, especially in the area that I live in, and everything, it's something that you're proud of, but then at the same time, me as a white American, I hate my culture for what they did to them. But we've done a
Yeah, but
lot
that
of
has
bad
nothing
things
to
in our
do with
country.
this.
Well, no, but no, it doesn't. But that's my point. When I'm watching this, it's like one of those things where, for me, it's hard for me to go, "This is such a sweet moment. I love this. Is so sweet." But then I'm like, "Oh, but the bad white guy. I'm rooting for him to lose." But then you know what happens. Like when we get to spoilers, when those things happen, I'm like, I don't feel like the payoffs is as good. Does that make
Well,
sense?
there is
Like,
this like no spoilers here. There is no payoff to this
yeah,
show.
yeah.
That was one of my biggest things. I think for a show that has like 40% ASL in it, which is American Sign Language,
Mhm.
it has some of the best actual dialogue of any of the Marvel products, at least recently. There's a lot of really deep conversation. I think there's really good character arcs and growth. I just think that number one, the first episode is 50% of the show is a recap of her history from the other shows.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the next 50% is like a brief introduction. There's the whole biscuits thing where you waste time introducing him, even though he's not an important piece to her as much as the girl is. And then when the girl does come, she's just there.
Hmm.
Um,
There.
their grandmother resolution thing takes too long, which these are not spoilers.
Mhm.
um, and then it leads up to a finale that just felt like nothing came of it. It was like,
Mhm.
okay, thank you. I don't understand. And a lot of people were telling me today, because Marvel people love to tell you what's going on. Um, that if you didn't understand it, she got the powers, this, that, this is still not spoilers. And I'm like, I'm not saying I don't understand what's happening in the show. I'm saying the
Mhm.
way that the show ended doesn't make sense. Like it ends
Mhm.
in a way that's like, why, what the hell am I watching?
Mhm. And
But
see,
the middle chunk is very well managed.
and the funny thing is when it gets to that final point, like, and here's the funny part: when it leads into that final scene, I actually like the lead up part, the small lead up part, and I'm not
Yeah,
going to
they're
spoil with her grandma and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to get in more than that. And it's like I like that part, like, oh, very proud. Then when it gets to it, I'm like, what? Like it was such a weird thing where it's like we're about to give you something that you think is going to be epic, but then when it happens, it it's like it's more like sentimental, and then at the same time the sentimentalness kind of just goes away too quickly, and it's like the people that deserve to have that payoff don't get it properly. And then it's like we're sitting here going like I was expecting more in my head. Like it's kind of like we went into like Endgame and spoilers for Endgame. I'm gonna say right now, and we didn't get the quote,
spoilers for Endgame.
but
Iron
it's
Man
like we
dies.
yeah, exactly. But it's kind of like them, the portals opening up, and then they go, and instead of him saying Avengers Assemble, he's like, "All right, let's do this." And it's like, what is that? What you is that literally like? I was expecting that line of something of that nature to come up, and it just didn't have that gravitas that I was
Okay,
looking for. Does
so
that make sense?
I think we could talk about that more, but I think we should give our score. But like before that, I just like the acting is really good.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Um, especially from like most of the main cast. I do think like some of the small character stuff was pretty garbage. The CGI is atrocious. And everyone kept telling me today, because I posted my Instagram review. I'm not sure when this video is coming out, about how, yeah, though you got to get over it. It's just a woodpecker. I'm like, I'm not talking about the woodpecker. I'm talking about the train scene where it's like 20 minutes of her standing in a cartoon.
Mm.
Like that is awful. when the truck
Mhm.
is driving by, the pickup truck, it looks like someone just drew a pickup truck on the screen. Um, anyways, digressing from that point, I didn't really like the cinematography.
Right.
There is enough good in this show. It just doesn't fully hit where it's trying to hit. I'll give it a 6.8.
Yeah, my same situation. I was already going to give it like a 7, which someone else is that we're going to bring up second brought the similar score. Um, Here's my thing. I wanted to give it an 8 as it was going along. Like when I was sitting here when I was watching it, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be an 8. This is awesome." Because the dialogue, the characters, they're very, very amazing to me. Honestly, what killed the score for me was that final episode. And see, the bad thing is, I actually feel bad saying that for one reason is because, well, let's just wait till we get to spoilers of that. But yeah, mainly the last episode is what made me drop my score, and not because the anything was wrong with the dialogue or anything like that, but it was just like it felt rushed too. And I'll go deeper into what I mean by that when we get to it. So
So what was your score?
I already said 7.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
and JD, for anyone who wants to know, JD gave it a 7.2. He said it was okay, nothing special. So I don't know if you want to quote him.
He said teased us with a little Daredevil and Kingpin, but never went anywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. Never went anywhere is a good point. So we'll get into spoilers here. 3, 2, 1 spoilers. Um, d- Essentially, like to describe this ending for anyone who I'm assuming if you're watching this part, you probably have watched the show. It
Mhm.
would be like if at the end of Infinity War, someone just went up to Thanos and talked to him for like 2 minutes, and he was like, "Yeah, that's cool. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm gonna go home."
Well, that's exactly what I was referring to the end game. And now I can probably say it. When the mother put the outfit together, I felt in like, oh yeah, let's do this. This is amazing. Then we finally got to the scene, and they all got powers, and they all started hitting them, and all of them came to all the ancestors came in as Echo, and they echoed like the name says. It was like I at first I was like, okay, maybe this is gonna be good, and then they punched the people, and I'm like, okay, cool, and then it was like, wait, that's it. Like it didn't the payoff that I was expecting because that's that final episode. They went way hard into the Native American culture, and I've noticed this happens a lot when it comes to these things. I know they got a lot of people Native American culture to come in and talk about this. So I think it was the Cherokee or the Choctaw
It was Choctaw,
people.
yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is yes, I'm proud they did that, but I feel like everything leading up to it was amazing. At one moment was just like, let's make sure everyone knows what they're watching, which is Native Americans and that kind of thing. And I'm like, we already know this, and that's what's making the show great, actually. But not just the whole thing that makes it great. There's also the characters. There's the whole family dynamic that was so great that was leading into something that was going to be more powerful. Like my thing was this. I thought we were going to get an epic fight between her and a bunch of men to where they can literally show off, like kind of like they did in the beginning or towards the middle episode, where she actually shows off what she's learned from all the ancestors. But then it didn't feel like we got that kind of payoff. It didn't show up as well as I
You
was
see
hoping
her
it
fight in the beginning with Daredevil,
would.
and we've seen her fight in Hawkeye, and we know she's extremely like formidable. She's strong and she's a good fighter. Okay.
Hmm.
This show presented her as weak.
Well, that's the reason why I thought it was going to be paid off. That's why I thought, okay, this is going to be an epic payoff at the
Yeah,
end.
she got powers now, and she's didn't get any stronger. And this is the thing: did she share the powers with the other two women, or do they also have powers? I don't understand.
That was the part that was confused me. And see, the
That
thing
was
is,
not
I didn't.
explained.
Well, see, the grandmother, I kind of understood why maybe she had it because the grandmother, remember, with the pregnancy, that's how she ended up getting them because ancestors gave her the powers to actually go through and give birth. But then we don't see her, and then we see her mother does the healing. So, okay, it's an ancestral thing, but then her cousin gets it. And I'm like, okay, I get maybe it is a whole family thing. So I guess the whole females of the family have it. But does that mean like literally every female of the
But
family
does
has
that
it?
mean
Like,
that all these random characters who have no fighting experience or violence experience in their life just all of a sudden got powers and knew how to do karate? Because that's what happened.
exactly. Well, and
Um,
that's the thing. And then also the payoff. I mean, here's the thing. When the big bad
Also,
guy
hold
comes
on.
in,
I don't remember when ancient, although I guess it wouldn't be that ancient, but like ancestral Native Americans knew Kung Fu and that their power came through you and gave you Kung Fu. Like, was there like a lot of Chinese people over here at some point teaching all the natives Kung Fu?
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
being a
I mean,
dick because like
I know.
there's little like nitpicks you can make about this. I genuinely from a personal aspect, I liked this show.
Mhm.
I
I did
just
too.
think
Yeah.
that if we're gonna be like if we're gonna look at this realistically, there's a lot of errors, and it's like it's the kind of issues that Marvel has been having lately, where it's like there's just these little tiny things that all they have to do is tighten it up, and you would have had a great show.
hmm And that's the thing I was saying before. Like there was like, but for example, when the big bad white guy that came in, I don't remember his name, the bald gentleman before Kingpin came in, the one that came in with the shades and everything that was running this location in their area. When
Are
he
you talking about
came,
that guy with the weirdest accent I've ever heard in my
yeah,
entire life? That like I
the
have
one
no idea what country he's from.
the one that was that ended up getting killed on top of
The
the
RV
RV
guy.
when he's Anyway, him when he comes in, I'm like, "Oh, okay, I've seen this actor. He is a great as a bad guy." But then what ended up happening was the payoff for even him was really bad. But then when he was called out, like everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, I was so shocked." Kingpin was like, How the way they played that part off, even if we already knew he was alive based on the story and everything, but like even if you didn't know, that made it way too obvious to where when he finally comes in and she looks at him, it doesn't have as much of an impact. And that's some of the things that I had problems with was again, like you say, it feels like Marvel holds your hand way too much in these things and doesn't let. And this is supposed to be adult series. Let's be adult about this. I
It's they
mean,
also have a tendency now to just like try to like explain things, but their explanation is like not useful. Um, one issue that I had, a big issue, was the violence of the show. It's all implied. There's so much gun use, and it's odd because like most Marvel stuff isn't like very heavily gun based. This show had a lot of guns, especially for a show that is about people in a town and a person that usually uses hand to hand combat. So it just felt like super American. It was like, oh, don't worry, we all got guns. Like all of these guys are just pulling out guns. Like they're just random people from a town, but they all have pistols. Um, on top of that, it felt weird with the violence, like I said, because there was a weird use of blood splattering on things. You don't
well,
ever see anyone get shot. You see bullet holes and you see blood sprayed. So my thing
well,
was like, I would have preferred to have the violence more like John Wickish, where you show me her literally beating the crap out of people, choking them, breaking their necks, stuff like that, rather than
well,
you wasting your PG-13 rating or whatever by showing me blood on the wall. That doesn't make
well,
it cool. Like, stop trying to be cool. I want to see the actual fighting. Because you would see her
well,
like attack someone and then it would cut away and then it would just show blood on the wall. And you're like, what?
no, here's the here's the random example where, like, for example, remember when Kingpin actually told her, you need to let your anger out. So when she goes in with those guys and she finally gets her first kill on that one guy when she breaks his neck,
Yeah.
like that part right there, I'm like, that wasn't as like anger issue-ish. Like it didn't feel as like when she did it, it's like, oh, I'm rage. Like, no, you should have given us something way more hardcore when it came to that. But then all of a sudden we get a scene like, for example, when they shoot up the guy in the one that turns Maya in and ends up calling the Kingpin. When he dies, we suddenly get like a whole face full of blood, and I'm like, why did we need the intensity of the blood this moment, but not the moment when she
And
gets
it's all
angry?
post action violence. I don't know. I can't describe it. All of the gore and blood you see is after the thing happened. They don't show you the thing happening ever. They just show it later. And it's like I would rather that you show me the actual full on shooting and fighting of the action scene than just showing me like it. There's a purposeful reason why they shot a lot of that action scene in like the bowling alley or whatever it was, the skating rink where with the lights were purple because you couldn't see red on the blood when it was spraying all over the walls.
Well, again, it was one of those things where it felt like Marvel was saying, Okay, so since we're bringing in, this is definitely a name drop. Since we're bringing in Deadpool, let's get a little more violence because you guys did Daredevil and all that stuff over there. So let's give some violence to you, but it's more of the situation like, look, we put blood there, we put blood there, and it's like, well, that's not real. This doesn't feel as impactful when it comes to blood. When you're putting it, it's putting it on, like you said yourself, on the walls or on the face,
Yeah.
but we don't actually see the actual impact of blood. You know what I
It
mean?
literally feels like some 70-year-old man watched John Wick and was like, blood's cool. Just put some over there. And
Yeah.
then they sent him the video. He's like, no, more, take away all the fighting, just put more blood. That's what the kids want to see. Yeah, I don't know. It's it's a good show. I enjoyed it, but if it's once again Marvel landing into this middle tier of it's okay movies and shows.
Well, like I said, they knocked it out of the park in my eyes when it came to the characters and the character development, some of the characters, and even the dialogue. But then, like
Yeah,
for
but there's great
example,
elements, right?
yeah, but that's my point though. But then when you get into the fighting thing, which a lot of us are here for, is for the action. It literally just felt like a really diluted version of Daredevil that we got over on Netflix, and it's like literally the only good fight scene actually is with Daredevil. Now that I think about it, I feel like that was the only good fight scene between her and the whole show was when her and Daredevil were fighting. And it's
You're
like,
right.
why was that good? Why was that the only good scene, only good fight scene at all? Why? Why? I never, it doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. Yeah.
I don't have anything else. You have anything else?
I mean, I will say this: Vincent D'Onofrio is still to this point. I used to say that Michael Clark Duncan was the best Kingpin, and I still think he's a great Kingpin. But damn, Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin is just that was plucked out of nowhere. Like that was like perfectness when it comes to casting. And every single time I see him, like I'm just waiting for that moment, and I'm hoping maybe the last time to ever use him as Kingpin would be in a Spider-Man movie because I know we got in Daredevil and all that, but like I would just love for someone to actually put Kingpin in his place and feel like maybe Spider-Man would be that one, and it would be just so great to see that
The
him with
problem is,
Spider-Man.
pre-animated series, he's not a Spider-Man villain.
And I'm aware
So
of
it's
that.
like they're trying to stick more to that, I think. Um, keep him on the ground level because there's still so many Spider-Man villains we haven't gone through, and having him fight a human just doesn't feel like like Spider-Man would kill him in one punch.
Oh no, I get it. But my point is that's the way I feel like Kingpin be put in his place, and that would be a great moment to have if they're ever going to say, "Well, we're going to kill off this character, or we're finally going to knock him down a
We'll see
peg."
how it goes, right?
Yeah, yeah. But either way, it's more dialogue than I went with not with action when it comes to Kingpin and Spider-Man because I would love for him to have like some kind of like Lynch hit on like the government thing, and then finally Spider-Man just steps in and to stop it because he just got way too much power. And like I know that's not gonna be possible, but it's just because Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin in every aspect, even if he was the cartoon version, it would still work so well with him because he is just a spot on Kingpin in my eyes. Like even when if you go look at the Kingpin from Into the Spider-Verse, like I could see Vincent D'Onofrio actually playing that part in that role if they actually made a live action because he's so good at this character. It's like he was born for it. And I never even thought of that when I first saw him on all the other stuff, like the Men in Black movie or the old was it Law and Order or I can't remember NCIS. It was one of those
Yeah,
shows that
it's
he
one
was
of
on.
those.
Yeah. And like I never in my brain at one moment did I think this guy would be a great Kingpin. And
Well,
now I'm
he
like,
is.
yeah, now I can never take that back because now when I look at him, all those old things, I'm like, oh yeah, he definitely is big Kingpin. So I had to throw that out there. Like he's got to get props for that. So
Okay. Well, I'm done. Are you done?
I'm good.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out Putty's channel. Let us know what you think about Echo.